Pallet Town, a tiny town of just 3 buildings, some trees, and a dirt path. Yet somehow, for many of us, it's where unforgettable journeys begin. Now, 20 years after Pokémon Fire Red, I'm bringing this special place to life in Unreal Engine 5 as a fully realized, almost functional town, all leading up to one thing, a full cinematic. And I'm not stopping there. I'm creating the interiors too. Before diving into Unreal, we need to talk about something very important: the vibes. Pallet Town is more than just pixels. It's the start of a grand adventure, a safe place to return to. And also, statistically, home to at least 5 people with nowhere to sleep. But hey, the flowers sway in the wind. It's a cozy little village tucked away in the woods. And in older games like this, you weren't fighting gods, it was just you, your little team, helping regular people with everyday problems, sticking one up to Team Rocket, then heading back to Pallet Town and maybe starting all over again. Fire Red is a remake of Red and Blue. And to be honest, I didn't play the originals first. I wasn't born yet. But despite all the changes, the essence of Pallet Town never changed. Native's childhood bias speaking again, but there's something a little magical about this town. That's the vibes, man. And every decision in Unreal is to capture this feeling. To make something believable in Unreal, you need more than just memory. That's why we're getting references. And since the Kanto region is based on Japan, that's where we're heading next. Pallet Town takes inspiration from 2 real-life places, Machida Town and Shimoda City. First up, Machida, hometown of Satoshi Tajiri, the man who gave us Pokemon. In my head, I pictured a peaceful, bug-catching heaven. Open fields, humble homes, that nostalgic rural stillness. So I dropped a pin on Google Maps, zoomed in, and stared straight into a shopping mall. There was no quaint little village, only a mini metropolis. For a second, I thought that was it. But after dragging the little street you guy around aggressively, I found something suitable. Then Shimoda City. Unlike the last place, this one was pretty straightforward. Time to piece them all together. I pulled in everything I could: source material, Japanese architecture, terrain, foliage, and even interiors and appliances. Okay, construction time. Before Unreal, I started with AutoCAD, just to lock in the scale and get the proportions right. Was it necessary? No. Did it make my life easier? Absolutely. With the dimensions set, I block out the town. Wide enough to feel real, and cozy enough to still be Pallet Town. Then came the trees. Pallet Town is basically drowning in them, and I wasn't about to place them all by hand. Thankfully, Unreal has PCG. Simply put, I assign it some assets, and it automatically generates everything across the landscape. And just like that, we have a forest. This is so convenient. But little did I know, this shortcut would come at a cost. We'll get to that later. The terrain was next, so I shaped it to gently cradle the town. I also painted the landscape accordingly. Now it was time for the houses. And of course, we start with Red side. After laying down the foundation, I started shaping the house, carved out the openings, framed them clean, and gave the facade a little makeover. But something felt off, too wide. It looked more like the Red and Blue version. Personally, I like it, but this project's based on Fire Red, where the houses are square, more compact. So I scaled it down and eyeballed it until it felt right. The materials went on next. Walls got textured, panels got depth, and the roof finally started looking like something you'd actually see outside. I also added an AC unit, because if Kanto's anything like Japan, Pallet Town's summers are probably brutal. Then came the essentials: pipes, gutters, and an electrical box. Also, this placeholder door had to go. And some wear and tear to wrap it all up. Rival's house came next. Copy pasting would have been easy, but no 2 homes in real life are that identical. So I tweaked it with different placements and some wear and tear. Next up, Oak's lab. I tested out a few bricks and went with something rougher. I also threw in 2 AC units and stacked it with electrical boxes. Before heading inside, let's wrap up the exterior with some final touches. Couldn't forget the iconic red flower field and naturally those classic white picket fences. In Fire Red, both the town sign and the lab sign had the exact same text, which is kind of confusing. But in a newer game, they finally addressed it, so I did too and yoinked it. I then traced the letters, threw them in Unreal, and carved them out. A bit of rust too because of the salty sea breeze. The tall grass came next. Looking at it now, It's ridiculously tall. Imagine walking through that just to buy groceries. It feels itchy, maybe even dangerous. Whatever it is, good luck if you're in sandals. Interior time. I begin with the flooring, then layered in the finer details such as wall paint, skirting boards, and ceiling moldings. For the kitchen, Fire Red kept it simple, but since I'm making this functional in the real world, I took inspiration from Japanese kitchens in the late 90s. For the counter, I kept it at 850 millimeters. Comfortable, easy on the back. Then classic tiled walls, followed by drawers and cabinets for storage. And this? The rice cooker. This is non-negotiable. I gave the button a subtle glow so it's always ready for fresh rice. Above it all, a simple string light, just enough to brighten the cooking space. Finally, I couldn't leave the ventilation. This fan above the stove ensures Red's mom doesn't have to worry about smoky kitchens. Which also leads me to wonder, in the Pokemon universe, what's cooking? Sashimi or Magikarp? Anyway, I added a fridge, because even in a virtual house, there should be leftovers. For the giant rug, or is it a carpet? I stuck with Fire Red's texture but used a mesh to keep it from feeling flat. Then there's the air conditioner, connected to the external unit I added earlier. With the living room coming together, I tackled the last few bits. The dish cabinet, which I had to redo twice in the TD console. Then came the tablecloth. I really wanted to do everything inside Unreal, but the cloth sim kept going batshit crazy every time I converted it to a static mesh. After way too many failed attempts, I had to give in and get it from another cloth simulator. Is that cheating? But then again, it's my video, so I do what I want. For the stairs, I swapped out the blockout with a scanned asset and added something definitely missing from the game, a small storage nook under the stairs. Why? Well, let's talk about it. Red has his own floor, his own bed, the whole upstairs to himself. But his mom? Nothing. Not even a pillow in sight. The poor lady doesn't even have a bed to sleep in, and she's the one paying the bills. So I thought, let's at least give her a little space to store a futon, which would then imply she now has a place to sleep. Up the steep stairs, I kept the same TV and rug for cohesion, and then added more clutter and mess. Then I filled the rest with some furniture and the bookshelf. But an empty bookshelf? Nah. I filled it up with books, some clutter, a Pokemon magazine just like the one from the anime, and even a Pokemon Adventures manga for a little Inception moment. Almost forgot. The TD needed a thick table, so I plugged that in too. Now over to our rival's home. It's almost identical, so I copied most of the assets over. But there's one major difference. No stairs. A little disclaimer, since this house doesn't even have a second floor, this whole area is kind of my artistic impression. As a kid, I just thought the rival was annoying. But looking back now, his life was rough. His grandpa forgets his name, calls him whatever insult we pick, and clearly favors the neighbor kid. That's tough. So this room became a little reflection of that. A place where he probably spent way too many hours staring through the window at Oak's lab, hoping for just a little bit of attention. I did give him a sleeping bag and a candle for warmth because I'm not a monster. Let's give it a little light, shall we?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
I did not expect the flame to be this big, but you know what? Let's go with it. Looking into Oak's lab, I started with the walls. Gypsum boards and recessed lighting helped reinforce that clean, clinical feel. And of course, a fire escape sign. Safety first. Next, machines. Wires, lots of them. For the bookshelves, I built one, duplicated the rest, then filled every shelf, making sure all the books had variation. And finally, this area. 3 Pokeballs, just waiting. I wanted it to feel special, so I added a spotlight. Just enough to give it that quiet sense of magic. Then came the Pokeballs. I wanted these to be accurate, so I pulled references from official Pokemon merch, checked the dimensions, and modeled them to match. Not forgetting the 2 Pokedexes as well. And with that, everything was finally done, and I could move on to rendering, or at least that's what I thought. There was one crucial spot I completely forgot, the water leading out to the sea and Cinnabar Island. So I turned to Unreal's water plugin. Simple enough, right? Click, drag, and ocean. Except Unreal said no. It crashed every time I placed it. So yeah, sea's cancelled. I focused on the stream instead. I brought in mega scans, carved some rocks, shaped the little channel, added ripples, And finally, things clicked into place. Now, I could call it a day here, but not just yet. Since Pallet Town is special, it deserves the best quality possible. That means optimizing for path tracer, better lighting, softer shadows, more realism. I tweaked the HDRIs until I found the perfect one. Something soft and diffused, not too harsh and blinding. Same thing inside, and the difference was wild. Time for animation. I set up sequencer and keyframed the final shots. But that's where things quietly started to go wrong. You see, I wanted the leaves gently swaying, just a bit of wind to breathe life into the animation. But every single time I tried, Unreal crashed. Again, and again, and again. The worst part? It was PCG, the exact tool I'd praised earlier.
Flashback.
This is so convenient.
Actually, PCG and wind both work fine. It's just that Path Tracer can't handle that much moving geometry all at once. The trees, the wind, the sheer number of assets. It overloads memory and crashes the engine. At this point, I faced a choice. Choose wind effects and lose Path Tracer's gorgeous lighting, or stick with the high-quality lighting and sacrifice any sign of wind. But you see, I'm greedy. I wanted both or nothing. So, back to the drawing board. I tried fix after fix. Nothing worked. Made a new level without PCG. Still broken. At this point, I was this close to rage quitting. But then I had a big brain moment. I didn't need the whole town blowing in the wind. Just a few plants, some flowers. Only what the camera could see. It didn't have to be dramatic, just a hint of motion to suggest life. And if it looks a little too calm, let's just say the breeze in Pallet Town was unusually gentle that day. So that's what I did. I converted a few flowers and trees to skeletal meshes, and hand animated each one for every single camera angle. And somehow it worked, just barely. But after all that, I'll take it. But before we roll to cinematic, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want to see more. Alright, enough yapping. Here's Pallet Town. Let's hit play.